Okay, welcome back to Area 31. It is my day off. I got through a grueling work week. It's really terrible there. It's still summertime. And we still got a lot of tourists and whatnot, even though school has started today for all the kids back here anyway. So anyway, we are gonna fly today. I'm getting kind of a late start because I just had a late start to my day. It was a pretty rough weekend. But that's over with now, and I'm here to fly. So, inside here, we got everything set up the way I like it. We're at about 2,500 feet, and we're paused right now. But we're going to be we're going to be heading south, and that is the Grapevine straight ahead. Look around here really quick. Anyway, look, big old thing over there. Okay, so let's go ahead and take the pause off and get started. So we will be entering the LA area now. And I have a Grapevine story. I'll try to make it brief here. So when I was a very young man of 22 years old, out on my own, I was like many young men, spending too much money on parties and booze and smoke and chasing women and all kinds of nonsense like that. So I couldn't afford to have my own house. So I was roommating with several other guys in a very large house. A lot of men like me had that same problem, young men. So here we enter the Grapevine. Let's just start climbing. Anyway, two of the roommates, and this was 1982. This would have been summer of '82. They were into sports bikes. They both were doing better than me and had some pretty nice sports bikes. I believe they both had the same type, Kawasaki 650, might have been 550 or something. Be that as it may, they were planning a trip. They took a trip down here to go to Laguna, which is on the other side of LA. And they talked about, one of the topics they were talking about was getting to ride the Grapevine. So when they left, there was like 10 of these guys. They had a whole group of sports bike guys, and they came down here. And they rode the Grapevine. I didn't know what the Grapevine was. I'm sure I asked, and they told me it's going into LA, or it might have been San Francisco. I don't know. But if there was a Grapevine around San Francisco, I wasn't aware of it, or I missed it. Anyway, this is the Grapevine. I guess it's a interesting place to ride a very powerful motorcycle. I personally was into motorcycles all my life up until about 20 so years ago when I sold my last one. I was not a sports bike, but I was a on-off-road biker. I had dirt bikes and I also had enduros. I sold the last one in '96. I was having trouble riding because arthritis was starting to set in, and there's so many close calls there. Excuse me. So anyway, so this is what those guys wanted to ride the Grapevine on their way down there. I really don't see anything too thrilling about it, but for a sports bike guy, I guess it would be interesting. So anyway, we're going to be traveling this way for quite a while. It's going to take some time before we start down the other side and into the LA area. Santa Clarita first, and then, well, a bunch. I'll have to go back to the Google Earth to exactly get all that stuff. But anyway, we're just going to continue following I-5 out. It's going to just go right through the heart of Los Angeles. What I would assume would be the old city of Los Angeles, probably where it started, kind of like the downtown area, and then it built out from there. I assume, I don't really know. My dad always talked about Whittier. When he grew up, he lived in Whittier as a boy, and this would have been the 1930s. So it's vastly different now. So anyway, the plane's handling kind of roughly here. I'm trying to stay down as low as I can. We'll get down to about where I want to be when I'm going to eventually leave I-5 and start heading east. And that's going to be, I'm going to get on I-15 and start heading east and northeast and ultimately go to Las Vegas. So the plan has been, it's changed like 17 times since I started this. The plan is now to just fly through LA and then get down to, I forget, I'll have to go look at Google, to the, I believe it might be the 76. Take a left where the 76 meets I-5 and then follow that to the I-15 and then head northeast on the I-15 to Las Vegas. I have a pretty big attachment to Lake Elsinore and I-15 area, and I'll explain a whole lot more about that as I try to not crash here. But it holds a special place in my heart. The Lake Elsinore area, and we'll talk about that more later. But for now, we'll just 500, man. Keep an eye here. I can't just walk around away from this and let it fly like I have been doing in the past. It's pretty nice here, isn't it? Pretty nice area. Yeah, getting ready to hang out there. The hills of, well, this isn't Hollywood. I wouldn't say the Hollywood Hills, but we're quite a ways from that. Anyway, we'll be back pretty quick as we just cruise the Grapevine here. I don't see anything terribly interesting so far. I really didn't know about the Grapevine until I started flying down here, and then I remembered those guys so long ago, 40 years ago, when they were preparing to take their Los Angeles Laguna trip on the sports bikes. They made it okay, and they got back. I don't know whatever happened to either one of those guys. I'm really curious. They were both older than me, but not by much. I don't honestly even remember their names, so I have no way of tracing them down, find out. I don't even remember. One of them moved to the California, I want to say Big Sur. And the other one, I believe, was still here. So. Okay, I think we're about done with the Grapevine. We're now at a place called Castic and Hazley Canyon over there, but this is Caslick, and I am probably not pronouncing that correct. So, but straight ahead is going to be, excuse me, straight ahead is going to be Santa Clarita. In fact, we're kind of entering that right now. And you might be able to hear a plane flying overhead. It sounds like a Borate bomber. I'm kind of near the international airport here at KMFR, and we do have firefighting planes flying in the area today, and they kind of go right over the house. So anyway, a little bit of a spider web here and freeways. Not too bad. It actually looks worse than Google Earth. So this is Santa Clarita up here. We got to go over these mountains, and then we will be in the San Fernando Valley, which is going to be pretty big. And then we'll have to go over yet another set of mountains, and that will lead us into Hollywood. That's the backside of the Hollywood Hills, according to my understanding. So I think we're going to just kind of scoot right straight ahead there through that little area. Yeah, interesting here. So this is probably all considered Los Angeles, I would guess.